Hey guys, welcome to Hop's Metal Show. We are live on YouTube and in the group. Catt Murtis, welcome with us. I know we were struggling with some connectivity, but super thrilled to have you with us. I was prepared to make things live. My name's West Of. My wife and I do a lot of leadership and workplace communication training, but that's not what we're doing today. Today we're putting the highlight on Catt Murtis and Blacktop Mojo, and Hop and String are going to drive. Catt, I was going to show the clip from Wicked Woman if it took a little bit, where you're at a quickie mart, right?
Yeah.
Awesome video. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to turn it over to Chris and Hop in just a second. But I got to ask you one quick question, and that is, how in the world did Cliff Burton and Steve Whiteman from Kix end up being the bass player for Blacktop Mojo? Because that's what I've seen in what we've got to know from Catt.
1 second. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Okay. So as Catt's getting up to hear us, I'm going to ask the folks watching live to put on screen where you're watching from, because we know some folks are going to be around the United States, but we also think a buddy of ours is going to join from Japan at some point as well. So we wanted you to see where they're coming from. Tony Gamble, thanks for being with us.
Yep.
So Catt, my question was, you've always reminded me of a combination of Cliff Burton and Steve Whiteman from Kix. How'd that happen?
I'm sorry.
You rock on the bass?
I only heard the last part because my Bluetooth connected like right then. What was the question? One more time.
My impression was Cliff Burton in the bass style, but also front man, the energy you bring, and the crowd engagement of a Steve Whiteman from Kix.
Okay.
How's that for comparison?
I mean, I'll take it. I definitely don't. I'm not insulted. I get Cliff Burton a lot, actually. And when I was a teenager, I mean, I think every teenager that ever picked up an instrument like really got into Metallica at some point. So I feel like we all have a little Metallica in us, especially us rockers. So.
Totally agree.
So yeah, I'll take it.
Outstanding. Well, so String and Hop haven't got to see you guys live yet, but we're looking forward to seeing you in a couple months when you're here in Virginia. I got to see you in Virginia about 2 years ago before COVID shut the world down.
Hell yeah.
And it was just a great show.
Thanks, man. Yeah, well, hopefully when the rest of y'all see us, you'll have just as good a time as he did.
It definitely looks like, just some of the live stuff that I've seen, looks like y'all really have a lot of energy, and it just transitions into the crowd as well. So.
Yeah, well, I always say, if you're not having fun, how do you expect anybody else to in the audience? So,
exactly. I don't know. Have you ever seen Jackal before?
No, we've met Jesse James Dupree before, but it was like really he was running security for this Hailstorm show we were playing, so we didn't really get to talk too much.
That's pretty cool.
I actually know his son Nigel. Like, we're actually good buddies. Like, Nigel actually, while we were in Nashville recording the 4th album, came to hang out a couple of times in the studio with us. So
very cool.
I'm pretty good friends with him. But no, I have to answer your question, I have not seen Jackal live.
I kind of feel like that's kind of the vibe that I get when we've seen them a couple of times, and that's kind of like, you're there. It's kind of like a comedy show, because they loosen you up, and they're up there. They're just up there having a good time, and they're good old country boys, and it just it just fills you up, and then you just return it back. It's just all that energy they feed to you. Yeah. I get that feeling that that's how your shows are as well.
Well, right on. Well, I appreciate that, and hopefully, when you do experience it, that you'll be right, and that you have that same good time.
Yeah. I have a feeling you're not going to let us down.
Now, Nigel,
try not to.
Nigel has his own band, don't he?
Yeah, he is in Tuck Smith and the Restless Hearts, I believe. He's jumping for them now.
I thought
when I met Nigel, he was playing drums in that band called Waylon. and like ever since we played that show back in that to be 2017, I've just stayed in touch with him over the years. We've been buddies.
Yeah. He's probably a pretty decent guy because his dad's a class act.
Yeah, he's all right.
So, Catt, I'm going to toss a question at you if you can hear me okay. One of the things that I've seen you guys do as good as any band I've ever watched is engage your community. You've got the Mojo Nation Facebook page, and you specifically, you're into it. I mean, when people comment, when people tag you, you're responsive. It's pretty wild to see. I mean, what's driven that for you guys?
I mean, probably just because we've always run our social media. Like, it just never changed. The fan base grew, but we all still are running the stuff ourselves. So it's like, and people get a kick out of you just, making their day better by, liking their comment they left, or, responding back to them with a little something. And it only takes like 2 or 3 seconds. I mean, sometimes, you get busy and you can't really get on the phone and engage like you'd like to, especially now that, things are getting busier for us. Things are getting growing, and it's getting harder and harder for us to kind of keep the same engagement that we've had, like when there was like only 100 people that cared about us, and so really it's just we get on there and we just sometimes in our spare time, and just try to engage the best that we can, try to communicate with everybody the best that we can. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to make somebody's day a little better just with that little bitty response, man. And that's worth it to me and to all of us, really, because the fans and our friends and family are the reasons why we're still able to do this. So it's like that little bit of appreciation just goes a long way, I feel like. And it's fun. Like, sometimes you can just get to be a troll and mess with people. That's a lot of fun too. I mean, I love how Wolf Van Halen really deals with haters. Like, I've been really enjoying his posts of that. they crack me up. He's pretty funny.
On that note, Catt, I heard a guy say. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying, most of the time there's not really hate. It's just people it's all love, but. Every now and then you get somebody who thinks that they know what they're talking about.
It doesn't matter where you're going to find 1 or 2 of those that come out of the woodwork on you.
100%. 100%. No matter what state you're in, no matter what country you're in, you're going to find somebody that knows it all.
Oh, yeah. We have plenty of those at work, too, so they always try to throw it at you, and then you just let it go on, just ignore it.
Just do your thing and just ignore them. Yeah. Anyway, what were you saying, brother?
To your point about it, as you get busier and busier, there's more demand. I heard a fellow that's been a mentor to me over the last year or two say, do for that one person what you could wish you could do for everybody, because to your point, you make somebody's day. And, when you do, there's that extra. People see it. People take notice, and they appreciate that.
Right. Absolutely. And like I said, it's like when you got the time to do it, why not? Why not just do it real quick? Hitting like on somebody's expression of gratitude, it only takes, like I said, a second or 2.
Yeah. And even
we're pretty much in this digital age, Elon Musk was talking about how we're all practically androids, and we have this thing glued to our hip all the time, and it's like we are in constant connection with everybody at some point. So it's like, it's just part of it now.
Yep.
You're exactly right. So, go ahead, Wes. It looked like you was about to say something.
Oh, I was going to Chad Hop to get him to chime in there a little bit. If you let me, I'll just keep talking. So I want Hop to get involved.
Now you're doing all right. I guess I'll go ahead and ask this one. Is there anything that's happened on the road that your fans might find funny or interesting that they don't know about?
I mean, we try, if something funny is going on, we try to document it the best we can so that we put it on our Patreon, But we used to have you know, a guy that was doing guitar tech and video for us, and he was able to like, you know, capture a lot more. And now that we're kind of like having to individually capture it ourselves, sometimes we miss some things. But hell, I mean, we can just be cutting up in the front lounge and somebody says something stupid and we'll be laughing about it for like 15 minutes. It's just, you know, random things like always are happening. And especially on the road, it's like, it's unpredictable. You never know what you're going to see or what kind of person you're going to come across. It's funny, like when people ask me this question about like something funny going on, I literally like, it's like my brain freezes and I can't like think of anything. But it's like if I'm just like, if I was like having a conversation with you and we weren't even talking about it, I would think of something fun like just like that. You know?
I'm the same way. It happens to me all the time. It put me under pressure and I lock up. But I'm just thinking.
Yeah, and it's not even pressure. It's just like I can't. I just can't think of anything off the top of my head when I try. You know?
Yeah.
So I watched in your last tour, I think it was maybe back in the fall or whenever, it seemed like that bus broke down every stinking day. What was up with that?
Yeah. Well, see, you know, we got the Godspeed like right before the pandemic. Like things were actually like we were coming out of debt. We were starting to make our way, doing real good. And so we're like, all right, we got a bunch of stuff lined up this week. And like we did the math and the cost is essentially the same, whether you're in a van and trailer and buying hotel rooms or you get a bus. It's the gas, the mileage you're going to get. It pretty much evens out to be about the same. So we invested in our future and got the Godspeed, and she was great, you know, when we got her. But then like the pandemic happened, so she kind of just sat there for most of a whole entire year. And as y'all probably know, like any kind of machine like this that isn't running is just, you know, slowly deteriorating. And so what we had to deal with that run you're talking about was all the pieces of it that were just sitting there deteriorating. And then all of a sudden it's being used again, like constantly, and it's just like things just start breaking. But fortunately, we've gotten everything mechanically fixed since then, and we shouldn't have any major problems like that for a long time, as long as we keep it maintained.
Well, and I bring that up, and I was a little reluctant because I know it could be a sore spot, because I know there's been times that I've wanted to set my car on fire when it was breaking. But the real key, the real key is the way you guys handled it. And I watched the folks in the group when you'd say, "Hey, we're broke down here," and it was only a show or two. I think you had to postpone or whatever, but the group just rallied around you, and it was stinking cool to see.
Yeah, man, and we're always so talking about how thankful we are for like the Mojo Nation, just the people that we've met and like grown to know over the years, and how like they're always like, if y'all need something, let us know. You know, it's like it's just warm and fuzzy. You know, it's like it's really like, oh, they really actually do care about us. You know, and it goes a long way for us, and it like keeps pushing us forward. Not only like literally, but like also just in an emotional, soulful sense, you know. And it's we're very thankful. We're very grateful and blessed to have that, you know, that kind of community.
Yeah, and a strong fan base like that. It's like you said. I mean, if they could come pick you up and take you where you needed to be, they would probably have done that in a heartbeat. It's just,
right.
It makes that strong.
Some of them would.
Yeah.
Some of them would, and some of them have before.
That's a good feeling that they got your back like that.
Yeah.
Hey, do y'all want to do a viewer question?
Sure.
Okay, yeah.
Tony Gamble wanted to know who the prankster of the group was.
Well, we kind of everybody. I mean, we're always like, you know, giving each other shit, or like if somebody's like you said, somebody says something silly, then you just like like everybody just piles on, and it's just you know, a cluster of everybody just you know, poking at each other pretty much.
And Tony, I saw your question earlier about when they come. Are they coming to Knoxville, Tennessee? And what I'm going to do when later on, after we're done with the feed, in the comments, both on the Facebook group and the YouTube channel, I'm going to put their tour schedule and their VIP. So, gosh, anybody that sees this, whether you're live with us right now or you see it later, you check them out. It's going to be a fun show. Catt, I'm even told that you do some artwork.
I do. As a matter of fact, yesterday on our off day, I just kind of went to town, and because tonight's show in Jeffersonville is sold out, so I feel like it's going to be
very cool.
Pretty good night. I mean, it's a small venue, but still, I mean, like, it's going to be apparently packed like sardines. And so I went ahead and did a couple of drum art last night, and we actually had a cymbal I drew on too. But I could give y'all a preview real quick.
Sure. That's awesome. All right.
So as he's doing that, I'm going to play this quick clip. And if he comes back, I'll pull it down. Nope, he's coming back. So much for the clip. You'll have to check out the Wicked Woman video on your own, guys.
So I did like some caricatures of us on this one.
That's pretty.
I had the time to do it, you know. So it's like, yeah.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool.
So, yeah, that one will be there on the merch table tonight. Yeah, it's fun though, man. Like, I'm glad that I get to actually, you know, use those doodling skills I acquired not listening in school. You know,
and it's always good to keep in your skills. And I used to draw a lot when I was younger, and I've kind of gotten away from it. It would probably be a struggle for me to sit down and draw something now. But you know, when you got the time, if you can doodle that kind of stuff, you know, even if it's something silly, it's still you know, something keep you occupied, keep your mind off other things.
Stress reliever.
For sure. Well, yeah, and then once I started doing this a lot, like I pretty much like guaranteed every tour when Nathan's or Joe, our drum tech, changes the drum heads, he leaves them out for me, and I've got this huge book of Sharpies I've acquired over the years, and you could thank the Mojo Nation for that. There was one point I think like literally every other show somebody was bringing more Sharpies from the Mojo Nation, and I like literally just I was like, yeah, okay, I think we're good on Sharpies for now. Let me run through all these packs real quick before we get any more. I can't fit any more in my binder.
And I got probably about 3 or 4 Sharpies sitting over there on the counter too. Well, I want to ask a question. It kind of leads into the venue you was talking about there. Small venue or a big venue with a bigger crowd? Like, which do you prefer to play in front of? Like, you get more energy from a big crowd, or you get more energy from that smaller, intimate, more packed club?
And I hope this doesn't like make me sound like a douchebag, but like I don't rely on the crowd for my energy or like my output, because in my mind, like I'm playing to 20,000 people every night. It doesn't matter, and I've always set myself, like since I started performing as a live musician, that, you know, if I want to play in front of 20,000 people one day, then like I better put on a show that deserves 20,000 people's eyes watching it, you know what I mean? And so, you know, honestly, there's pros and cons to both types of crowds, man. You know, like the smaller, intimate club shows, you know, like there's so many things that can go wrong, but like at the same time, it's like there's so many things that can go wrong at a big festival too, man. Yeah. Like it's like it's really just apples and oranges. Like it's just the crowd that's gonna be there. Like they're coming to see you. They're coming to see your show. So their energy's always gonna be, you know, hype about it. Whether it's in a small venue or whether you're at a big festival, they're there to see you. They're there to enjoy the music and share that connection with the band and enjoy the performance and, you know, really take from it what they came to get, you know what I mean?
I've always found it that I prefer going to a smaller venue. Just get that I don't know, you get the better connection for me. It's like, I know I could be right up front on the stage, or I could still be in the back of the club, and I still feel like I'm pretty
Mhm.
close. I feel like I'm more of a part
Right.
of the show than I am if I'm at a big festival and sitting up on the lawn at the top or whatever.
Yeah.
I always get a better, I don't know, I feel more energy when I'm at a smaller club type show.
Right. And I feel that there's definitely something to the intimacy and
Yeah.
um, the the closeness of a small venue, because like it's like you're like right there. It's like
Yeah.
everything's just right in your face, and if you're experiencing a band in their most raw, like, okay, if they could sound good in this little shithole, then they could sound good
Yeah.
anywhere, kind of thing. And there's just so many factors, like pros and cons to each setting, really. But yeah, I definitely feel you on the. Sometimes there's like this explosive, like, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's like you really only get it in the small venues because everybody's like uncomfortably tight.
Yeah.
Everybody's like experiencing the same atmosphere together versus where, like, at a festival it's kind of open and it's not so claustrophobic and there's not as much angst. I mean, everybody's hype, everybody's excited to be there, but there's almost like an anxiety inducing feeling when everybody's like all clammed together, but we're all like, oh, really excited to be like, rocking out and doing the same thing.
Yeah. And I felt like sometimes when I've seen bands in a smaller club and I've seen the same band stage in front of a big festival kind of a thing, where it's
Hmm.
you almost feel like the band is a little bit more relaxed and they're more cutting up with the crowd maybe, or just feel like they're more
Yeah.
engaging, I guess, and to a certain point too.
Well, they stop taking themselves so seriously and they start having fun. Because sometimes, like, you go. Sometimes you can be a band that goes from playing all these big festivals, and then like you go to play like your own headlining show, and you're in like a 150 cap room, and you get humbled real quick because you're all hype about, oh, I was playing in front of these crowds, and then like you get humbled, and then it's like when you get humbled, you look at yourself, and you're like, yeah, you know what, you know, it's just, this is all about having fun anyway. It's not about
Yeah.
my ego. It's not about like being this rock star. It's about, we all love music and we all love playing music and performing live, and everybody that comes to see our shows loves what we do, and it's that mutual love and respect and passion that fuels that energy in the room.
Amen.
Catt, there was a comment that I shared on the screen briefly from somebody that's watching on Facebook that said they saw you at Elevation 27 in Virginia Beach back in October. Said there wasn't a
Oh
ton of
yeah.
people there, but you all brought it, and that
Oh
just
hell yeah.
goes back to
That
what
was
you
a cool
said.
venue. Yeah, it was still like I remember that show in particular because like my girl came out to that one because she's from Virginia Beach, and I remember the venue because it was just really nice, and like they treated us really well there, and yeah, it was a smaller crowd. Like they had like curtained off like half the venue, and they still had like some COVID protocols going on and stuff back then. But like, and that's what was so weird about like touring or doing shows anywhere last year is like you had people that were willing to show up, but a lot of times like there were tickets bought, but then people wouldn't show up because it's like they wanted to support the show, but they were still too scared to actually go out
Yep.
and like enjoy it. So it was a very weird last year, indeed.
Hopefully, from what you guys are seeing, we're beyond that. I mean, my wife and I do a lot of public events too, and we
Yeah.
certainly saw that last year too. It's like, dear God, we need people.
Right. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Everybody was struggling with it, man. And this
Yeah.
year, though, I really do feel like everything's coming back more to normal, if not like almost like more people are coming out because they're like, ah, we've been left away
Yeah.
too long.
That's
I know with us, I was telling the string, we've got a lot of shows we're going to this summer. It seems like a lot of people are touring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The floodgates have started to open up, and it's
Yeah.
like some of them you actually have to pick and choose, like who do I want to see
Hmm.
more, and how far
Well, everybody's got to
especially
make
with
a
gas prices the way they are. It's like how far am I really willing to
yeah.
drive to go see some of these shows too. So that's a big
Yeah,
damper.
that's what's really hurting like everybody is like the prices of gas is like really making it hard for bands to get back out there and tour. And
Yeah,
also it's like at the same time it's like bands need to get back out there and tour because they need to make up for all the money they lost like not being able to tour the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And that's even like difficult just because of how things are now.
yeah.
So
Well,
it's crazy.
well, leading it in from that, like a lot of bands within that kind of last 2 years that everybody was sitting around and really couldn't do anything. A lot of bands got together in some way or another and recorded albums or did what they could on that aspect of it. But like, what was probably the biggest struggle that you guys did hit during that time, and like, what was maybe something positive that actually came out of that time?
Well, like right when the pandemic started in 2020, like I said, we just come off of a tour and things were like lining up for the rest of that year. We were going to be busy, busy. And then all of a sudden it was just like all that was pulled out from underneath you. And so we started doing like weekly live streams. Like Matt and I were like, kind of doing the old school, like, leave a tip and we'll learn the song kind of thing. And like we did that for a little bit, which, helped a little bit keep us afloat. But then also, the, the main struggle was just like continuing to pay our bills without the income coming in that we had previously been acquiring. And it was
Yeah,
just that whole year, you know, it was a struggle to do that. And then the, pretty much just maintaining it and like chunking away at the debt we accumulated trying to stay afloat,
yeah.
it's basically been it. It's just staying alive, staying alive. you know.
Catt, I'm in a completely different industry, but man, I felt it. My wife and I, that was the first year that we were both full-time self-employed, and the first quarter of 2020 was our
Wow.
best ever, followed by the second
Right.
and third quarter that was our worst ever. It was like, dear,
Yeah.
what do you do?
I know, man. It hit everybody so hard, man, and it's really it's sad and it sucks that there was a lot of bands and businesses that didn't survive, but uh, the ones that did, we're all still here. So let's just keep trying to get back to where we were, y'all.
Yeah, Hopper and I, we work at the same place, and we're fortunate. It's a factory job, and we were fortunate
Right.
that we were able to stay working. And there was a lot of people that just kind of chose not to work during that time. But he and I, we stuck it
Yeah.
out, and fortunately for us, I mean, I know there was a lot of people that wanted to work and just couldn't work, and that
Mhm.
puts a damper on the wallets and keeping supporting a family. And it was a real struggle, and I know it really affected a lot of people, and it's still affecting a lot of people, honestly.
Yeah. Definitely.
Now, when you was talking about writing music, when somebody does somebody have an idea for a song and just brings it to the table and everybody puts in their input, or do you have a main songwriter? How does that work?
It's kind of like that sometimes. Like the last album in particular, like I said, we were doing that live stream stuff and we were learning all those covers. Well, at the end of those nights, we would be a little tipsy out there in the carport just with an acoustic, and we had already been playing all day, so we were just like songs like Jealousy and Latex and Darling I Won't Tell and stuff like that. Like they all came out of those just front porch jam sessions. But then like when we were all living together at the time too, and since we weren't touring, like we were constantly playing and writing and stuff. So we were always like showing each other different ideas. And then when we all got together to jam, we would kind of like, you know, somebody might start on a riff or something uh, at the beginning of a song, and then the rest of us all join in, like you said. Or like a lot of Mojo songs, like start like we're just practicing, jamming, warming up, getting ready to practice, and then we come up with a groove or a riff or something, and just start all vibing on it, and then Matt James comes in and he's already had lyrics that he's been working on that week that happen to go along with the mood of the song, or sometimes he comes up with them on the spot, So, yeah, it's a little bit of both of those ways, kind of. Sometimes somebody has an idea and we all jump in on it, and then other times it's just a spontaneous, like, organic jam that morphs into a Mojo song,
Well, getting back to you was talking about doing cover songs.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed listening to cover songs and hearing the band's take on what they want to put their sound into it, I guess.
Right.
And I really liked your cover of My Girl. Like, how did that song get picked? And like, who came up with that, or was that like a group thing, or like how was that song brought about?
Well, that was a Matt James idea. Like, he wasn't having a very good day, and I can't tell the whole story for him, but I think he was, like in an argument with a close one, and then with his lady, and then like he went inside to the bar where we were playing that night, and the original Temptations song, like the happy, like I guess you would say, like was just playing, and he was just like, fuck, that is the last song I want to hear right now, blah, blah, blah. It's just not what I'm feeling at all. So then, like, I was in there, in our trailer, like, doing things that I do, like smoking, and there was an acoustic guitar in there already, and Matt was like, came in there, he's like, hey, Catt, so I got this idea, and I'm like, hit me with it, and he's like, so I want to do like My Girl, but I want to make it sad. Like, I want to make it dark. Like, because, like, we always hear the happy version of that song, but it's like, what if you're, like, mad at your girl? Like, what if, like, things aren't going so well, I guess you'd say, what could make me feel this way? My girl, And so I was like, okay, I know exactly what to do. And then, like, I started playing that part, that I guess you'd say, and I just, like, heard it in a, like, A minor walk-up kind of thing in my head, and that was exactly what Matt was kind of hearing and feeling for it too. And we worked it up there in the trailer, and then played it for the first time that night at the show. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, I actually played that for my wife this morning when we was talking about doing this interview. And
you was mad at her?
No, I let her read over some of the questions.
I'm just kidding.
She could probably get mad at me many other times, and I usually don't get mad at her too often. I'm usually the one screwing up. So.
Right.
But so when I was letting her listen to it, she was like, I guess she thought it was going to get really heavy or something, earlier about midways or whatever, and then she was like, oh, like I thought it was going to get super heavy right there or something. And I was like, just wait. And then there towards about 3/4 of the way through, like when you get that energy build in it, she was like, all right, I like that. So yeah, she enjoyed that this morning when I played it for her.
Well, good. I'm glad she liked
it.
Yeah. Catt, that's probably the thing for me is the cover Dream On. When you guys did that was the first thing that caught my attention probably 4 or 5 years ago now.
Same here.
And I've just not listened to new music. I'm an 80s hair band guy, and I've not listened to much. Alter Bridge, I remember watching you guys on a Facebook Live talking about meeting Tremonti on one of the tours that you did, the ship tours. But that's really the only other band that I've followed since 20 years ago. And I'm saying all that to say Dream On was cool and your covers, but the more I've watched and listened to your stuff, I like your originals is better than anything I've heard in 25 years. It's just fun. Well done.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, we definitely kind of try to stick to the ways of old as far as rock and roll goes. Like, just guys getting together and just jamming and making music that we like and enjoy. And what we feel.
So, Catt, we've had you for my counter shows more than 30 minutes, and I want to honor your time. Chris or Hop, anything you want to wrap up with, or you want to turn it over to him to just anything closing that he wants to share?
Go ahead, Hop. Go ahead.
I just want to know I bought. I don't know if you can see this. That y'all's vinyl.
Yeah.
And I know listening to a lot of the newer stuff, I'm really impressed how good this album sounds, mixing wise, production, and everything. Was there anything special y'all went in knowing y'all wanted to get this kind of sound recording wise?
Well, this time through with the guitars, especially, we knew that we wanted to actually, because like on Under the Sun, like I'm pretty sure like all the guitars are Kemper profiles. Um, the one thing we wanted to do different on this one was actually we rented some actual amp heads to get like some of the meat and potato of the guitars and stuff to get that tube kind of organic sound, especially in the rhythm section stuff. Most of the leads is still Kemper, which, you know, nobody's going to really know the difference. They've come that far with technology, like, to be honest. Uh, but that was one thing that was different. And then another thing was a couple of the songs we actually wrote in studio, like uh, Taillights, for example.
Awesome song.
They finished it. They finished that. Our producer Phil with an acoustic, and our buddy Alex and Matt James in that little house we were renting while we were recording there. And they, the night before the last day of recording we had, they finished the lyrics to that song, and we just all went in there. None of us had played it before because it was just made, and then we did it right then and there that day. And you know, we're always pretty open to like experimenting and seeing what sounds the best and what serves the song best, you know. And a lot of that kind of just goes with like in the process of recording and being like, well, what can we do to make this sound better? Or this isn't quite right, you know, let's use a different guitar on that, or let's. I actually on this particular album I like made a bunch of bass profiles on the Kemper I was using, and like I picked out which I knew that this bass sounded a certain way and that I was going to get a certain tone with it this way, and then my blue bass had this kind of tone. So like I was picking and choosing like which ones for which songs I wanted. We were just being a little bit more particular about the instruments and tools we used, I guess, on this album. And yeah, it was great though. Good times. And Sound Emporium Studios is amazing in Nashville. Both of their A and B rooms are just quality, and you always get a good experience because they treat you well. They treat everybody well that comes through there, but also like they just have awesome stuff and awesome people that work there and know what they're doing. You know?
Nashville sounds like it's a real big, more of a rock hub now, where it used to be all mostly country. Sounds like there's a lot of people kind of centered around Nashville now and recording and even moving and living there. I know there's a lot of
Yeah,
musicians down there.
Nathan Hunt from Shaman's Harvest is a good example.
Yeah.
Like, cause he was out there while we were out there last time. But yeah, and another thing is like, you know, it used to be a country music hub, like especially I grew up in Northwest Alabama, so Nashville was just a stone's throw away, and so I always saw it like, you know, growing up as like the country music hub, you know, and but now country music is becoming pretty much classic rock. I mean, that's pretty
Yeah.
much what it is. Like, go listen to any modern country artist, and that's what it is. You just throw a fiddle in there, and it's Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers with a fiddle.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally
And
agree.
yeah, and then like even more modern country artists, especially like it's almost like Matchbox 20 with a fiddle now, and it's pretty much that's where it's going.
Yeah.
Modern country is basically like regular rock music now, and then all what is considered rock music is almost like pop metal, you know. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Totally agree with that.
Dwayne
I
was a
mean,
thrash
that's
metal bassist.
just like what Wes was talking earlier. Like, I'm not particularly stuck on 80s hair metal. I like a lot of that stuff, but I'm also a
Right.
lot of the heavier stuff as well. But you got a
Yeah.
lot of that stuff that you hear on like regular rock radio type stations, and it's like it's too much of it. It's like you got their pop stuff it's all sounding like more of the rock stuff, and the country sounding more like it's all like it's just a big. Everything's been thrown in the blender and mixed together, and it's not really a whole lot of individuality like it used to be.
Yeah, there's a lot of the same tones and mixed sounds.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So, gosh, Catt, again, we've had you. It's looking like right at 40 minutes. Anything you want to share? Want to turn you loose? You're playing Jeffersonville, Indiana tonight. Anything you want to share as you close?
Well, y'all stay tuned today and tomorrow. We have some pretty big announcements as far as
cool
places we will be playing, things we will be doing. And yeah, catch us on the road with Buckcherry in a couple months. We're almost done with this tour.
Yep.
So, yep.
Well, so again, for anybody watching, I'm going to put in the comments when this is done the link to both the tickets that you've got, but also your VIP, because that's an opportunity where you may talk Catt into signing stuff, and he doesn't need Sharpies. He's got that covered right now.
Yeah, I don't need Sharpies.
Gosh.
I'll take more if you really want to give me some, because they will go to use eventually, but
So, well, we appreciate getting to meet you, and look forward to meeting you in person in about a month and a half when you're in Virginia again. And gosh, if there's something we can do in the meantime for you, we'd love to be able to support you.
Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate you guys having us, and I'll catch you on the other side.
Yeah,
okay, guys, I'm going to close it with the Hops Metal Show. Catt, we look forward to seeing you soon, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Later.
Pop Metal.